Hare Krishna. In this video, I am going to tell the first story from Kṛṣṇa book. So let's start the story. Advent of Lord Krishna. Once upon a time, the world was overburdened by the unnecessary defense force of different kings who were actually demons but were posing themselves as the royal order. At that time, the whole world became perturbed and disturbed. Then the predominating deity of this earth, known as Bhumi, went to see Lord Brahma to tell of her calamities due to the demonic kings. Bhumi assumed the shape of a cow and presented herself before Lord Brahma with tears in her eyes. She related the calamitous position of the earth, and after hearing this, Lord Brahma became much aggrieved, and he at once started for the ocean of milk where Lord Vishnu resides. Lord Brahma was accompanied by all the demigods headed by Lord Shiva, and Bhumi also followed. There is a planet within this universe called Shvetadvipa, and on that planet there is an ocean of milk. The Supreme Personality of the Godhead is called Kshirodakasai Vishnu because he is lying in the ocean of milk. Arriving on the shore of Milk Ocean, Lord Brahma began to pacify the Lord Vishnu, who formerly saved the earthly planet by assuming the transcendental form of a boar. And then all the demigods offered the Purusha Sukta prayer to the Supreme Personality of the Godhead. But they apparently heard no response from Vishnu. Then Lord Brahma personally sat in meditation, and there was a message transmission from Lord Vishnu to Lord Brahma through the medium of heart. And the message was, the Supreme Personality of the Godhead will appear on the earth very soon along with his supreme powerful potencies, and as long as he remains on the earth planet to execute his mission of annihilating the demons and establishing the devotees, the demigods should also remain there to assist him. They should all immediately take birth in the family of Yadu dynasty, wherein the Lord will also appear in the course of time. The Supreme Personality of the Godhead himself, Krishna, personally appeared as the son of Vasudeva. Before he appeared, all the demigods along with their wives appeared in different pious families in the world just to assist the Lord in executing his mission. The demigods were further informed that the plenary portion of Lord Krishna, Ananta, who is maintaining the universal planets by extending his millions of hoods, would also appear on earth before Lord Krishna's appearance. After instructing and pacifying all the demigods as well as Bhumi with sweet words, Lord Brahma, the father of all Prajapatis, departed for his own abode, the highest material planet called Brahmaloka. Now the story on the earth will be started. The leader of the Yadu dynasty, King Surasena, was ruling over the country known as Mathura, as well as the district known as Surasena. On the account of the rule of King Surasena, Mathura became the capital city of all the kings of Yadus. Once upon a time, Vasudeva, the son of Surasena, just after marrying Devaki, was going home on his chariot with his newly wedded wife. The father of Devaki, known as Devaka, had contributed a sufficient dowry because he was very affectionate towards his daughter. Kamsa, the son of Ugrasena and was the cousin brother of Devaki, in order to please his sister, had voluntarily taken the reins of the horses of Vasudeva's chariot and was driving. While the bride and bridegroom were passing along on the chariot, there were different kinds of musical instruments playing to indicate the auspicious moment. The procession was passing very pleasingly, and Kamsa was driving the chariot, when suddenly there was a miraculous sound vibrated from the sky, which especially announced it to Kamsa, saying that, "Kamsa, you are such a fool. You are driving the chariot of your sister and your brother-in-law, but you do not know that the eighth child of this sister will kill you." Immediately after hearing the prophecy from the sky, he caught hold of Devaki's hair and was just about to kill her with his sword. Vasudeva was astonished at Kamsa's behavior, and in order to pacify the cruel, shameless brother-in-law, he said, "My dear brother-in-law Kamsa, you are the most famous king of the Bhoja dynasty, but how is it that you are so infuriated that you are prepared to kill a woman who is your own sister at this auspicious time of her marriage? Why should you be so much afraid of death? Death is already born along with your birth. Every moment, every second you are dying. Why then should you be so much afraid of death? Final death is inevitable. Therefore, I beg to request you not to be overwhelmed." Vasudeva thus requested Kamsa not to be envious of his newly married sister, and tried to pacify Kamsa by good instruction as well as by philosophical discrimination. But Kamsa was not to be pacified because his association was demoniac. Because of his demoniac associations, he was always a demon, although born in a very high royal family. Failing in his attempt to pacify Kamsa, Vasudeva thought to himself of his wife that, "For the present, let me save the life of Devaki. Then later on, if there are children, I shall see how to save them." He further thought, "If in the future I get a child who can kill Kamsa, just as Kamsa is thinking, then both Devaki and the child will be saved, because the law of providence is inconceivable. But now, some way or the other, let me save the life of Devaki." So Vasudeva, thinking like this, said to Kamsa, "My dear brother-in-law, please consider that you have no danger from your sister. You are awaiting some danger because you have heard a prophetic voice in the sky. But the danger is to come from the sons of your sister who are not present now. And who knows, there may or may not be sons in the future. Considering all this, you are safe for the present. If there are any sons born of her, I promise that I shall present all of them to you for necessary action." Kamsa knew the value of Vasudeva's word of honor, and he was convinced by his argument. Then, for the time being, he decided not to kill his sister. After a due course of time, Vasudeva and Devaki gave birth to 8 male children as well as 1 daughter. When the first son was born, Vasudeva kept his word of honor and immediately brought the child before Kamsa. Although it was very difficult and painful for Vasudeva to hand over the newly born child, Kamsa was very happy and glad to receive him. But he became a little compassionate with the behavior of Vasudeva. Kamsa became satisfied by the action of Vasudeva and said, "My dear Vasudeva, you need not present this child to me. I am not in danger from this child. I have heard that the 8th child born of you and Devaki will kill me. Why should I accept this child unnecessarily? You can take him back." When Vasudeva was returning home with his firstborn child, although he was pleased by the behavior of Kamsa, he could not believe in him because he knew that Kamsa was uncontrolled. At that time, the great sage Narada came to Kamsa. He was informed of Kamsa's becoming compassionate to Vasudeva and returning his firstborn child. Then Narada warned Kamsa to be careful of the friends and well-wishers and all the demigods taking birth in those families. And he also informed Kamsa that Surasena and all his relatives born in the family of Vrishni of the Yadu dynasty were preparing for the appearance of the Lord. After being thus informed by Narada about the appearance of the demigods in different families, Kamsa at once became alert. He understood that since the demigods had already appeared, Lord Vishnu must be coming soon. He at once arrested both his brother-in-law Vasudeva and Devaki and put them behind prison bars. Within the prison, Vasudeva and Devaki gave birth to a male child year after year, and Kamsa, thinking each of the babies to be the incarnation of Vishnu, killed them one after another. He was particularly afraid of the 8th child, but after the visit of Narada, he came to the conclusion that any child might be Krishna. Therefore, he thought it was better to kill all the babies who took birth of Devaki and Vasudeva. Kamsa was made aware of his previous birth by the grace of Narada. He learned that in his previous birth he was a demon of the name Kalanemi and that he was killed by Vishnu. Upon hearing this, Kamsa became very much afraid that he would be killed by Krishna just as he was killed in his last birth. Then he first of all imprisoned his father Ugrasena because he was the chief king among the Yadu, Bhoja and Andaka dynasties, and he also occupied the kingdom of Surasena, Vasudeva's father. He declared himself the king of all such places. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport of the first chapter of Kṛṣṇa, Advent of Lord Krishna. So in the next video we will see the second story, prayers by the demigods for Lord Krishna in the womb. Thank you. Hare Krishna.